Autocompletes have existed in modern operating systems in some way for a while, really. They're inconsistent. Some are cleverer than others, not always getting context of what you're writing. Sometimes even getting the autocomplete to trigger is an exercise in frustration in itself, but they exist. Now, the new wave of AI tools offer some new potential and opportunities for this. And in this video, I'm going to take a look at a new one called Cotypist that does exactly how it sounds. It co-types with you. I am Christian Chiller. If you want to find out more about me, then take a look at christianchiller.com. And for more information on Cotypist, take a look below here. If you enjoy what you see, then please share, leave a comment, subscribe, all those sorts of things. But with all that out the way, let's get started. When you first open the application, you get taken through the onboarding experience. This is setting up permissions, also your voice, and giving you a quick introduction to how it actually works. And this involves single words or sentences one at a time, which often is offered in most tools, but it's not always obvious how to trigger each type. So it's quite useful that it tells you straight up how to do that. Here's the good old permissions on macOS. So this is accessibility settings, and screenshots accessibility is kind of the catch-all one that's used for a lot of input monitoring. Screenshots, well, you saw the description there. Not completely clear on what that may mean, but yeah. And as with any AI-based tool, you then usually have to download a model if it runs locally, which in my mind is fine. And Cotypist does actually offer the options of getting a couple of different ones. Here, so this actually is here by default, so it's pulled this in from my system settings. But I'm going to change a few things to include my nickname. And it says I write in English, but I'm going to say US and non-US English. You can see Grammarly is getting in the way a bit here. So there we go. Maybe this will make a difference. We will find out. I also would rather it didn't use typographically correct and just uses straight ones. So let's see if that makes a difference or not. And now I can have a look at the settings here so you can see the different models that you can install. These are less familiar ones, and that's not too big, just under a gig. And the only other settings we can change here are then the ways you trigger that completion or show that completion, changing it from the defaults in the onboarding experience. There's also this option to disable Cotypist in the current application or globally for a period of time or indefinitely. Sometimes you don't actually want it running for a period of time. For example, maybe when you're making a video. Hello, Grammarly. And you can see the little app icon is also popping up there. This is a standard way now. I think of a lot of these applications that use the accessibility settings. Grammarly does the same to show that it is active. And you can see some similar options here, including hiding that button temporarily. So I spoke to the developer of the application, and they said that generally Cotypist has access to about a page, whatever that may mean in the context of a lot of applications, of context around what you're writing. I mean, at the moment, there's very little context here, but when I try some other examples later, hopefully it will pick up more context. I mean, this is a blank text edit document, so really it has very little apart from what I put in at the beginning. I'm hoping that as I add to things here, it will build more. I don't know if it also builds more across applications or between windows in an application. So here, let's see. I've just said I like to play games, but that was in a different document. Doesn't seem to be picking it up. Well, there eventually, but we had to go through a few other options first. Yeah, I said my favorite food is vegetarian. We're getting pizza. I mean, pizza is not non-vegetarian, but we've got vegan curry. Yeah, I think that's just kind of scrolling through options, not necessarily picking up what I've said yet. But yeah, I didn't get any confirmation or not if the context is shared between application windows. So to compare, macOS does actually have this auto-completion. You can see it happening here. It's a little unclear in what applications it's available in and what it's autofilling and what comes up. Like, I've tried this many times, and sometimes it just pops up, and then other times it doesn't pop up at all. So I don't really know. There we go. So it just autofilled there. It's a bit sporadic, to be honest with you. If you hit Option plus Escape, it actually will show you, there we go, the words it is maybe autocompleting. I still don't know if you can really call this autocomplete, but I'll try it again. There we go. Yeah, it just does it in a different sort of interface. So that's Option plus Escape. That was a new one on me, to be honest with you. I mean, it's not smart. I don't think it's using any kind of artificial intelligence. Well, I don't know. The line between what that means in a lot of these applications is a bit blurry, to be honest with you, but it exists. If you try it in Mail, it doesn't seem to work. And here you can see the various settings, but there's not really any specifics around when and why. And you can see the settings here. It's all enabled, but yeah, it seems to be inconsistent even amongst Apple's own apps. And here's the same settings you can see in iOS. Pretty similar. But of course on iOS you get these, again, if you call them autocomplete, but these three words that pop up above the keyboard. So let's try something different. So this is Discord. This is me trying to organize a game with somebody. So there is some context here. And in theory, this kind of page of context, let's see. Yeah, there we go. So it knows I'm in Discord, which is interesting. But if I go into Mail, it doesn't say Discord. So it has context of what application I'm in, as well as that sort of page of context. In this chat, we're talking about a game called Unconscious Mind, but I suppose that's not well known enough. Although it should be in the message context. I'm not sure. I think it got there eventually, but I don't think because it was thinking of the game. Still kind of auto-completing from default here. But I do mention the game name at the beginning of the conversation. So now I'm going to try this difference between UK and US English, because I said I type in UK English. Now, my settings are a bit messed up at the moment because I registered to use the Apple Intelligence, which only worked in US English. I'm not even sure if that's the case anymore. So my language settings are a bit messed up, as you can see. Grammarly says this is wrong, but I want to see if Cotypist will pick up that UK English versus US English. Let's see. Trying to get car boot here. Maybe that's a bit obscure. A car normally has, and there are ways to force the autocomplete if we go into the settings, because I get the impression I want to do that right now. Just remind myself what it is. There we go. Yep. He has, there we go. Steering, a roof. Yeah, I suppose it has a roof. A body, technically. And a boot. There we go. We kind of got there. Again, whether that was anything to do with the context, I'm not sure. And that was my look at Cotypist. I was testing a version that is several versions behind the current released version. That's a lot of versions in that sentence. It's the problem with these small applications, these new applications. Sometimes they develop quicker than it takes me to put a video together. Things have definitely improved as the developer moves towards version 1. And as you can see, there's a few little niggles here and there. I've often found that if you change font sizes in certain applications, the font sizing and formatting can be a bit inconsistent, that kind of thing. I've also noticed that if you have any other kind of assistive text tool, they start to clash with each other. You get like a battle of the bots in your text field, which is weird. That is the world we live in. If you want to know more about Cotypist, then take a look at the link below. If you want to know more about me, then take a look at chrischinchilla.com. If you've enjoyed what you've seen, then please leave a comment, please share, please like, please subscribe. Thank you very much for joining me, and take care, everybody.